يبدو أن في كثير من المشاهدات الغامضة على السواحل الأمريكية في المياه.
The number of sightings that people are having in these locations and putting it all together, it just doesn't make sense that so many people are unable to I don't know. The UFO thing has been always people focusing in the sky, right? And so it's kind of like now that we're shifting to USOs, a lot of people are wondering if this is a new phenomenon or not, and it really is not. It's the submerged objects have been since the beginning. When we started reporting, remember we had these pilots that were seeing them in the water off of Catalina, and air traffic controllers were telling us that pilots were witnessing this glow, sometimes the size of a city. And so here you have this Fort Lauderdale case. It's a lot smaller, but it's really hard to say whether we're looking at a natural phenomena. It's definitely not like phosphorus and algae. It's nothing like that, and it definitely doesn't explain how people are seeing the objects come up out of the water and zip out in these huge flaps that have been going on for decades.
Do you think that means that there's alien life in the water, or is this simply when people fly drones over a body of water and the drone goes down? Is it that simple, or does it mean that there's potentially alien life underwater somewhere?
The video that we were just looking at, my first thought was, that's got to be divers, right? It's got to be divers with those neon lights. And then I thought, no, not at night without a dive boat. That's really dangerous. What did you make of it when you saw this?
Exactly that. I mean, I'm a master diver. There's nobody around there with a dive boat, with a dive flag.
Well, the more logical explanation, and something that's gaining more and more traction, is that there could be an entire advanced civilization coexisting with us here on planet Earth. They could be inside the Earth, they could be under the water in bases, and some of these stories that we're getting about encountering these craft, which has apparently been going on for a long time with the U.S. Navy, are starting to make sense. So it could be a combination of extraterrestrials that have bases here that are concealed, or there's the very real possibility that we're dealing with an actual additional sentient race here on planet Earth.
Can you talk about some of the stories? You mentioned that you're hearing more stories out there of these USOs. What kind of stories are you hearing?
Well, the people are coming forth from the Navy, and they're talking about things where submarines have encountered craft the size of football fields that are moving at impossible speeds underwater. There's videos that exist of these things going from space to air to in the water without really seeming to change based on what's around them. So in other words, they're able to traverse without the restrictions that you would expect to find when you're going through water.
Wow.
What are we looking at right now with this video?
There's a lot of stories coming up, and some of them are coming from reliable people. And you guys are looking at this video. This is a MUFON case that was sent to us, and that's undetermined. That could be anything. It could be some scuba divers. We can't figure out what it is, but we're not sure if it's, some kind of alien craft under the water.
I'm not that well versed in this world, but I haven't really heard of USOs before. Is it now we're talking about it because it's trending? Is it because we have more advanced technology that's bringing the Navy, these different organizations under the water where we can see some of this?
Yeah, it's definitely trending, and the more information that gets released through the political process, it's becoming more and more apparent that encounters with the Navy, encounters with submerged craft, the stories are coming from the sailors, and the official acknowledgments are coming from the higher ups that there's something going on under the oceans that is beyond what we know about today. It's going to unfold over time, and we're going to be learning more.
And then the ones that dive back into the water and don't even make a splash, which is also, it just gives makes the hair on my neck stand on end. Again, I just want to go back to these pictures. Not divers, but is it possible? Well, first of all, have we seen any, plausible explanations surfacing? Like, well, this could be the military testing out new technology. This could be all sorts of stuff that we're not supposed to be seeing. Could be the enemy, although I doubt the enemy wants to be seen like this. But any plausible stuff that you've seen surface?
In this particular case, we really haven't had a chance, no pun intended, to dive into it yet. But this is just an example, like I said, of something that is much bigger, where I've had numerous cases where people are telling us have been out in the boat, they've been far away from shore, which again would be much more difficult to be just divers. And they've passed over areas about the size of a football field. And it's like somebody turns on a switch and the whole thing just lights up underneath them, right? And then you mentioned the fact too that some of them, like we have the USS Omaha case caught on thermal camera, where we have this transmedium travel where they go into the water, don't seem to disturb it, come up out of the water, sometimes in broad daylight, right? So something is traveling back and forth. You remember Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet, who's been on the show before. He testified in front of Congress about a Navy program that they're calling the fast movers, right? And the fast movers, they detect and track these objects that travel faster than any torpedo should or could, perhaps over 100 miles an hour, right? And so you've got the fast ones, you have ones that kind of just linger there, huge, kind of like the size of a city. These guys, I think, were really afraid because they didn't know, should we actually drive over it? What's going to happen if we do? Is it going to take us down, suck us in?
I want to bring in
أجيب أليخاندرو روخاس خبير الأجسام الطائرة المجهولة عشان نتكلم أكثر عن اللي صاير. الموضوع خلى ناس واجد يتكلمون أليخاندرو. موضوع مثير للاهتمام. طيب أشوف هنا إن عندك تطبيق مشهور للإبلاغ عن الأجسام الطائرة المجهولة يسجل آلاف المشاهدات. وش اللي نشوفه؟ إيه عندنا هالتطبيق يستقبل البلاغات ونستلم مئات البلاغات أسبوعيا. أغلب هالبلاغات أشوف الفيديوهات وأحللها لأن عندي خبرة طويلة في هالمجال. أغلبها غلط في التعريف بس في حالات ما نعرف وش هي بالضبط. نتفق مع ناسا والحكومة إننا محتاجين نجمع بيانات ونحللها عشان نفهم وش اللي يصير. الحالات هذه غامضة بشكل كبير. يعني اللي سويناه الحين بعد ما صار عندنا تقريبا 300 أساف حالة في سجلاتنا اللي تقدر تشوفها. احنا جمعنا بنفسنا في السنوات الأخيرة أكثر من 40,000 تقرير. قمنا بتجميعهم في مجموعات وبعدين درسنا خصائص هذه المجموعات المختلفة. آخر مجموعة ندرسها هي الأجسام المجهولة تحت الماء، ليش يسمونها الأجسام المغمورة غير المعروفة أو USOs، وهي نوع من أنواع الظواهر الجوية المجهولة. لقينا قصص مثيرة للاهتمام مرة. كم فيديو مثير، واحد قرب ساحل فلوريدا وواحد قرب ساحل المكسيك. عندنا تقارير حلوة كثير من الساحل الشرقي وحتى واحد قريب منكم في مانيستيك هناك ميشيغان. سلام. طيب أسألك، أذكر أنه كان في جلسة في الكونغرس عن الأجسام الطائرة المجهولة، ذكروا USOs في الجلسة. ما أتذكر هذا المصطلح USOs من قبل، أي معروف بشكل واسع بس فعلا تم ذكره. في واقع فيه أميرال سابق تيم جالوديت اللي تكلم عن هذا الموضوع في الجلسات هذه، وهو تحدث عن حالات تم الإبلاغ فيها إن أشياء تتحرك بسرعة تحت الماء، يعني زي منتج غير مؤكد يسمونه فاست موف، وهذا الاسم الرمزي اللي أعطوه لهذه الأجسام. نعرف بالضبط إذا هذا صار فعلا. في تقارير ثانية تقول إنه البحرية بس تجمع البلاغات، يستلمونها بس ما يعطونها اهتمام كبير، وهذا يخلي تحليل التقارير صعب. أيوه هذا الشيء يطلع في جلسات الاستماع. يعني أشوف إن مسؤولين في البحرية الأمريكية يحذرون إن هذا ممكن يكون خطر على الأمن القومي. يعني أيوة جالوديت بالتحديد. بعض الحالات هذه تختلط مع الدرونز. مثلا في كم حالة في 2019 طلعت، واحدة من USS أوماها وواحدة من USS راسل، حيث تم تصوير عدة أجسام فوق هالسفن. وش هذه الأشياء؟ تدري هالرجاجيل في نص المحيط اللي يصير، ليش تصير هالأشياء؟ الحين قرروا إنها على الأغلب أسراب درون. ليش هذا مهم؟ لأنه بعض اللي يلمحون له ممكن يكون تقنية صينية الصينية، حيث الصينيين يفكرون يطلقون درونز من الغواصات. مشكلة واضحة. ما يجي للأشياء اللي يصعب تفسيرها مثل الأجسام سريعة الحركة تحت الماء، بعض الناس اللي بلغوا عن هالأشياء كانوا قريب من ساحل المكسيك أو في مناطق فيها كثير قوارب تجارية وأشياء زي كذا. يعني أي شيء يصطدم بشيء ثاني أو شيء يظهر فجأة أو يصطدم بقارب خاص أو شيء زي كذا، هنا تكون في مخاوف على السلامة. طبعا لما يتعلق الموضوع بالأمن الوطني، واحدة من أكبر المشاكل خاصة مع الدرونز إننا كنا متغاضين عنها. لازم نأخذ نظرة دقيقة على تطورات التقنيات والاستخدامات اللي ممكن أعداؤنا يستخدمونها لمراقبتنا. على كذا هي قوارب البحرية الأمريكية اللي انضبطت على غفلة والدرونز اللي كانت تحلق فوقها. تحتاج تكتيكات حقيقية للتعامل مع هالشيء عشان نضمن سلامة بحارتنا ونتأكد إن الصينيين ما يجمعون معلومات استخباراتية ما نبيهم يحصلون عليها.
intelligence we don't want them to get.